さん。
What's going on, my friends? The Fragrant Flower Blooms. We're talking today about episode number 10. Now, here's the deal. I have said this before, so it should come as no surprise. But with Fragrant Flower Blooms, the budding, creating, coming romance of Rintaro and 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐿 is one that is a slow burn, right? It's two people who, you know, they've never dated, they never dealt with love before. They're on two opposite sides of a different coin. They see the world differently, the world sees them differently, the way that they go through life is different. So they're kind of figuring out what is love, what is dating, right? This whole episode was around Rintaro thinking about, like, what does dating even mean? Like, what does it mean to date? Like, how do you date somebody? Like, and if I want to date somebody, how do I know if I have the feelings that I want to date somebody? All super valid questions to have when you're 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, when you're in that high school generation bubble, right? Like, it's totally valid questions to have and to reach out to your friends and be like, well, what does this mean, right? And I love Rintaro's friend, this episode, because he was just like, I think it was Eureka. He was like, bro, I don't know. I've never dated anybody either. Like, he's like, I don't know what it means to date somebody either. He's like, I haven't done that yet, so I can't be help yet. But I imagine it would be blah blah blah. And then he's like, don't ask the guys either, because the guys, they haven't dated anybody either, so they're gonna be like, I don't know, bro. And at this thought, it was a really cute and fun interaction. Now, where I started the video is the whole, I've said this before, is because it is a slow burn anime and slow burn romance and slow burn show, the unique thing that the studio, which for Fragrant Flower, the studio, what studio is doing this show actually? I forget. Let me see if I can figure out what studio is doing it. But one of the things that the studio has to figure out, which this one is Cloverworks. Okay, yeah, I feel like I knew that. So one of the things that Cloverworks has to be careful with is it teeters that line of cute, adorable, interesting, and then boring. And it has like that little line, because if it dips at all a little bit, it can be a little boring. Now, the reason I bring that up is this show is getting 13 total episodes. So this was episode 10. So after today, we have 11, 12, and 13. So we have 3 episodes left to kind of see where their first love is going to land. And when we have episodes like this that are so close to the end, it's going to rub somebody either the right way or the wrong way, just depending how you look at it. Now, for me, I'm mostly positive, but I do want to recognize that this episode could have been found boring by a lot of people. And I want to acknowledge that. And the fact is we're getting so close to the end. When you kind of have an episode that's just really about them, you know, studying and, you know, passing some exams and wondering what they're going to do for summer break, and then going bowling, and then talking a little bit about dating. And really, 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿 and Rintaro had no, like, outside of the little itty bitty, maybe 2-minute interaction they had when Rintaro was staring at her studying during the study session, they were really separate this episode. Like, they weren't really combined at all. So it just depends what you're looking for in the show, but I think they did it well, but I want to acknowledge that it could have been a little boring, just depending how you felt about it. Now, the other thing about this show, because this episode was in fact slower, it did give me time to really think about Chidori and 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐿. And one of the things I've said from the very start of this show is I think the rivalry of the school and they hate each other and the forced hate is dumb and it's silly. So I'm going to talk about the school stuff, and it might be a little spoilery because I was like, I want to go look it up. I did look up like a no spoiler, like, hey, explain the school thing to me, but don't spoil anything. Just, you know, I just want to know what the deal is between these two schools, and like, is the hate justified? Because the anime makes it seem like it's like if they see each other on the streets, we're about to throw hands kind of thing, but that's not the case. So let me just, I'll pause, but let me say this. Episode number 10 was fun, or it was fun, it was cute, it was adorable. It was Rintaro finding out about love for the first time, and what does that mean? What does it mean to date? You know, having more trust in his friends and that trust being reciprocated. And then this leading up to the end of the episode where it's Subaru's, letting Rintaro know like, hey, Waguri's, Kuriko's birthday is coming up. It's around the corner. So next episode is gonna be focused about what's he gonna get her, and let's celebrate your birthday together. And maybe this will be like their first like date. Maybe they'll consummate. And when I say that, maybe like they'll start dating. I don't know. We're gonna see what happens. I'm gonna hope for the best. Now, if you want to stick around, please do. But this could be viewed as spoilery, so I want to make sure that anybody who stays to this point is doing so with that in mind. Okay, I want to talk about the academy in the school. So I investigated, no spoilers. What the hell is the deal with the school? Because I think it's just such a silly concept. And I don't understand why the author decided to pen the story around this rivalry between these two schools. And like, what does it mean? And is it that important? So I summarized it into this. 𝐒𝐿𝐴, and I wanted to know, is 𝐒𝐿𝐴 really all girls and is Chidori really all boys? And it looks like they never actually like finitely like Chidori is a girls' school, but 𝐒𝐿𝐴 is a girls' school, but Chidori, they never really say like, oh yeah, this is just a delinquent school. Basically, like if you struggled in school, like that's what this school's for. But they never really say like it's an all boys school. But here's what they have. 𝐒𝐿𝐴 Academy is an elite all-girls school. Chidori is seen as a rough all-boys school full of so-called dropouts. The rivalry between them isn't something society at large cares about. So society doesn't give a shit about these two schools. It's strictly within the schools. Adults and parents don't even recognize or enforce this conflict at all. So the kids' parents and the adults around the schools, they don't know anything about this. Like this is just something that is just super inside. The hatred comes from status, reputation, and mysterious past incident. So that's the keyword, mysterious past incident. 𝐒𝐿𝐴 girls are taught to look down. They're taught by the teachers, these pieces of shit, to look down on Chidori boys as crude and unworthy, while the Chidori side mostly just sees 𝐒𝐿𝐴 girls as stuck-up rich kids, which is a total thing. So Chidori really doesn't have any hate towards them whatsoever. The prejudice is especially pushed by a teacher at 𝐒𝐿𝐴 who's obsessed with enforcing the separation. The reason is 10 years earlier, based on the story that's happening, the schools didn't have a barrier. There wasn't any separation or hate. But after a serious quote-unquote incident where a student was badly hurt, 𝐒𝐿𝐴 literally put up walls and rules like close the curtain, forbid them from even looking across the property line. Since then, the hostility has become an institutionalized fear within that school, more than just elitism. So, in short, 𝐒𝐿𝐴 is all girls, Chidori is all boys. They hate each other mainly because of elitism, strict rules, and especially a past incident a decade ago that injured some student, which shaped this teacher's extreme stance. So, basically, it's a bullshit story because the whole 𝐒𝐿𝐴 thing, hating Chidori, is all pushed by one teacher's obsession and agenda because of something that happened to her. Some girl probably got injured, and which is stupid. And then from the Chidori side, it sounds like the teachers don't even give a shit about the school. Like they're just like, oh, they hate us or whatever, dude. It sounds like all the boys there, they just see the girls as this, they're just stuck up rich kids. They just don't like us because they're just at a different stature in life. They're noble kids basically. So I was like, oh man, that's so interesting. So take that what you will, but it's just because this episode is slower, it gave me time to think about like the silliness behind the school rivalry and like, oh, don't acknowledge the 𝐒𝐿𝐴 girls, don't acknowledge the Chidori boys. I mean, it's so dumb. Like I've never in my whole life, and trust me, like I was part of a 5A school where we had an extreme rivalry with another school for for sports specifically, and we played them. My school played them in before the state championship. We lost. I was really mad about it, and there were some little tussles between the schools, but it was during sports play. After that, like even if you would meet somebody from that school, like you wouldn't really care because you would meet them, at parties or out and about, or your friends would be friends with somebody else. Like one of my best friends were literally from, or one of my best friends during that time in life was from that school, and never even give it a second thought, as you shouldn't, because it doesn't really matter. So that's why I've always this is such a silly thing, right? So, anyways, that's all I got for you guys this week. Hopefully that educated a little bit on this rivalry between the schools, because I've always just been like, man, it's just a silly point. So I try to find an explanation that didn't spoil the show, and I don't think any of this which I covered today is going to be covered in the anime whatsoever. So, all right, my friends, I'll see you guys next week for more Fragrant Flower Blooms. Have a good one.